Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Simply Colorful Fibercast. Welcome. Today's date is July 31st, 2020. My name is Lynn Marquidant, and I am your host. And as I started up this, I can see that you can see my keyboard on my PC through which I'm filming this. So I'm sorry about that. And I think what I'll do is I'll tell you to grab your project. Let's see what we can accomplish together in the next few minutes, maybe not 60, and I'm going to fix this so that you don't have to see. Now what did I see? My keyboard. Hello there. Okay. Well, hi everyone. Make sure to chat amongst yourselves. Send pictures to lynn@simplycolorful.com. And I'll show them here. I have one from Carol Bell that she sent last week that I forgot to post. And tonight, what I thought we would do was look at some finishes, one of which is behind me, because I want you to know that I am getting things done. And then I have another quilt that I am in the process of finishing that I have a border to put on. And I want to do an experiment. I've measured across. It's currently, well, I'll tell you about that, the size, and let's see how that goes. And then if we have time, I have another charm pack that I want to play with and ask you to help me pick the contrasting color. So, hello, Maggie. How are you? Are you in Maine? Are you in New Hampshire? Nice to see you. I hope that it's cooling off a little where you are. It's a little bit better here today, and I think tomorrow will be good. So, my first finish, although the binding is on, but I haven't sewn the binding, is this one. Remember we started this one a few weeks ago? And this is the charm pack. Oops, it's going to fall. So I tried something different. I found some of this punch Kona that we used in another mystery. And I'm pretty excited about it, not to mention the fact that it was less sewing when you put a big border like that on. Hi, Leah. Oh, and Maggie, you're home in New Hampshire. Excellent. That's good. So putting on, and you'll notice that I put on this chartreuse border, then the green border, and then this big punch border. And then I quilted it up. I used Botanical Blossom by Anne Bright. She's a great quilting designer, and you can go to her AnneBrightDesigns.com. If you ever wondered what kind of designs you could quilt into a quilt, go there and you can look. Hi, Pat. Welcome. So that's the first finish. And I want to do this again with the charm pack. As you remember, my sister gave me these charms. Actually, she gave me all the fabric except for the punch. And I put this Painted Meadow, the bigger piece of it, on the back. I initially was going to have this be the border, but it was too bright or too light. So anyway, that's the first one. The second one is, remember this Cafe half square triangles? It's been quilted. It's a pattern called Rock On. Very easy. I thought that because there were lots of modern patterns, one of which are these sort of pebbly looking rocks. So I thought I would replicate that. That's where that came from. Hi, KB, TGI Friday, and good evening, Marquet. So nice to see you out there. So this one is done except for the hand binding. I sewed the binding on. And I'm using up my stash. This is the baby blue Minky that I had. So that's a second one that I finished. And that's actually all I have, really. I have now this third one. And then I'm going to get to my Dear Jane. Okay, let's put this one over there. So remember this one? This is the one that now that I've seen how frankly easy it is to put the bigger border on the quilt, I want to do that with this because I just love this. Remember we cut this up from the stash. And then today I've put 2 of these borders on, and I've made very careful to literally lay this quilt out and take my measuring tape and measure the middle across. And then I cut each border so that, and then I pinned it so that it would fit perfectly. And so far, so good. So now I'm ready to put a bigger border on. And I probably could have made it even thicker, but I'm going to put this wide of a border all the way around and see how that looks. And then I'll show you the backing. I love the backing. This quilt's going to be for me. The others are going to be gifts, but this one I kind of feel a kinship with. I don't know why. There are lots of different pieces in here that maybe have memories for me, including one of Bob's shirts. I don't know. I'm sure some of this came from KB. There's another shirt of Bob's. So anyway, okay, here goes the demo. I have measured across, and this is a square right now. It's 61 inches by 61 inches. And I'll show you. And I usually do this on a table, so it's more accurate than what I'm going to show you here. But just to show you, and this is, I should be measuring in the center from side to side, but it's pretty darn square. So I can do that. That's 60 and then 1, okay? What I've done is one piece of blue I actually cut to be 61 inches. Or 60 inches. So far, the demo's going swimmingly. Oh, did I measure it before I put this one on? No, I didn't. No, you know what? I'm still going to trust that my measurements were right when it was flat on the table. So this side I've measured supposedly so that it'll go onto this. The other side, I'm just going to take a long piece of fabric and I'm going to sew it down one side. And then I'm going to compare the two pieces and see if what I think is going to happen is I think by not measuring it, I think this is ultimately going to end up being like 62 inches long. It'll sew right on here, but the result will be that it'll be a little wavy. Does that make sense? Oh, Leah, I have to sew him some shirts. I know. Oh, and you know, he will be able to wear them forever. He's wearing shirts he wore when we were married. So he wears them out. It's not that, I don't know though. No, I don't think, well, I could make him some fun shirts. Okay, so does that make sense? Hi, Carol. Poor Bobby has no shirts to wear. He has plenty, Carol. That's funny. Did you see him tonight? I'm so sorry about Aunt Norma's passing. And I'll see you tomorrow at the funeral. Okay, so I have this unlimited piece of blue that I'm going to sew onto one side. And then I'm going to measure it and see if it's the same length as this one that I measured down flat. I think this one's going to be longer. And the result will be the border will be wavy. And the takeaway for us is that really, if we want our quilt to lay flat, the best thing to do is to measure it. As tempting as this is, and I have to tell you, I've been quilting, most of my life? And I really didn't believe this, or I didn't want to believe it. And it isn't until maybe a year or two that I really started to measure my borders. Who could be bothered, right? It makes sense. You just put your fabric on and you sew it down. And then you cut it off. Okay. So I'm putting end to end. And I really didn't try this ahead of time, so I hope this does work. Be interesting to see if it doesn't. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to go, well, will that ruin the experiment? I'm going to go 2.5. I'm going to make my stitch a little bit bigger because I ultimately am going to tear this out. If we prove that this makes wavy borders, that's not what I'm going to want. Oh, I'm so glad to see everyone's out there. Hi, Mom. Will you sew the second one on with the border? Okay, Pat is asking, will you sew the second one on with the border on top? No, I was going to sew this one on the other side to show that it fit. Because then I have to lay it out and measure for the top and bottom. This is going to be so interesting to see if with this machine, now theoretically with this machine, it should be pulling both the bottom and the top fabric at the same rate. So the wave shouldn't be too bad. Ooh, just went off the rail here. But we'll see. I hope you all have had a nice week and are staying cool. And safe. It has been so hot here. Ugh. Where can we go in the summers where it's not hot and humid? I'm interested in people's suggestions. If one goes to northern Maine, is it better? Or is it still humid up there too? I also wonder if it depends if this top piece should be on the top or bottom. That'll be interesting. Okay. So here we've sewn this on. It looks pretty good. Actually, it looks pretty. I like the contrast. Looks pretty flat, right? Why wouldn't that work? And I have this extra. And then I would just cut it off, right? I would cut it off right there. Well, before I started, okay. So now this isn't going to be as dramatic as I thought it would. You could see my head. That would be better. Hi, Carol Bell. If you sew with the border on top of the quilt, it is less likely to wave, which I did. So there goes my demo. Well, it still waved a little. Oh, Pat, thank you for letting me know that. Will you sew the second one on with the border on top? I just did this border on top. You know what? Oh, you know what? Hang on. I have another one. It means I'll have to rip out 2 seams, but I'm okay with that. So I want to prove this once and for all. Here's another just long border, right? That will sew on the other side. But first, what I wanted to show everyone was that it is about 1 inch longer, and I'll show you why. This is the one we just sewed on. This one is the one we measured to go across it. And I actually measured it ahead of time. I marked those little brown, see the little brown arrows? there, and there, there, and there. And yet, it went about an inch further. So I used an inch more fabric here to get to the end. I hope that's making sense. So that's an inch of fabric that, because I didn't measure it, it went. But now, but it's still, that's only an inch, right? That's only an inch. So they're not going to wave that much. To Pat's point, what I now want to do, I know, we're even going to measure this and mark it. I thought it would be 2 to 3 inches, to tell you the truth. Although it isn't that, it's only 61 inches. Okay, where's my marker? Hang on, I'm getting my marker. Okay. So, here's my brown marker. I've just marked the end of the measurement. So if we have to sew further along here, then it'll wave. Hope I'm explaining that right. Or I know that it's right, but hi, Allie, good morning. Oh, I also wanted to welcome Kathy Klein as a new patron. Welcome. And thank you for becoming a patron of Simply Colorful. The link to the open sews are on the patron page. So tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., a few of us will be there. I'm going to start it before I go to the funeral. And then when I get back, I'll say hi. Okay, so I marked this side. I want to mark the other side too. Okay. So let's try, like Pat said. So this one, and I know this is hard to explain. This one, I sewed the border on the top. I think this is what you're saying, Pat, on the top. On the other side now, I want to sew the border on the bottom. Oh, and here's where I don't know which way to go. Hang on. I'm so curious how this is going to work out. Carol, you're so funny. Thing is, the uncut piece is about twice the length of the cut piece. Okay, no. Okay. So here we are. We're not cutting it. We're just putting it down. Now we'll take our quilt that we've labored over. Now we're just going to put a big old border on it. Okay. holding it steady so that both the top and the bottom are lined up. We go. Hi, Norma. Your cousin is on, or she was. Okay, now we're getting to the end. I wonder how we're doing. Okay. Now let's look at the back and see how close we came to that brown mark. We started here, sewing along, sewing along, sewing along. Look at that. There's the brown mark that we measured. We still have about 2.5 inches more of the top. So what happened is, it's like easing in fabric. I just eased in 2.5 inches into that. And it still looks relatively flat, but if you put this all out and you do that times 4, you will end up having slightly wavy borders. So again, let's just, hopefully that makes sense. I just proved it to myself. Very cool. And like I say, up until not very long ago, I wasn't really a believer. And I promise I won't rip these out while you're watching. That would not be good pod. Okay. Okay. So that is the original. And look at that, 2 inches less. So what I need to do is take, and what I basically have done is I've stretched this too, and it's just not going to lie flat. So I need to take this off and then put this one that I measured and pin it across, and then it will really lie flat. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do next. So next week, this one should be a finish. Oh, and check out what I'm going to put on the back of it. I think I showed this to people. If I didn't, maybe I showed it on Patreon. This is fabric from Christine. Ah, Pat says, feed dogs always pull faster. Thank you, Pat. Thank you for helping me do that demo. Thanks, Marquet. This is going to be the backing. And it's just going to be a nice summer throw. I'm going to bring it down to the vineyard because the backing has vineyard motifs on it, including the church where Bob and I were married, believe it or not. Anyway, right there. My mom lives around the corner from Music Street. So anywho, that is that. Let me make sure I say hi to everyone. Okay, so Paulia, Pakia. Hi, Lynn. It's been a while since I've had a chance to watch you live. Oh, Angela. Yes. Hello. Don't think any of my quilts have been square. I guess I will learn to take time and measure, right? It's amazing. Me either, until I learned this trick that measuring really does keep them squarer and flatter. Carol, yes. So now I get it. Thanks. You like the backing. I'm psyched. Again, Christine Myers, my friend, gave that to me. She's had it in her stash. It's not printed anymore anywhere. Okay. So, again, in the spirit of just cleaning out our stash, I found another charm pack. I think I got this at Missouri Star. I don't know if it was the last trip or the trip before. It's Kona Cotton Solids, and it's in the Browns neutral palette. Neutral palette. And I know it's hard to see with the colors. So I went in and I thought, I want to do this same thing. Use these 5 inches and pick one of these fabrics to be the corresponding green. So instead of it being a solid, it'll be a print. And then we'll see all of these show up. This one is pretty cool. This came from Sarah. I don't know if she's watching. Oh, that is a cool pattern. That would be, it's almost a shame to cut that up. That would make a really cool border, wouldn't it? How much is there? One, looks like 2 yards. Maybe I could do both. Well, no. That is beautiful. And what I'm thinking is, so check this out. I'm going to take this, I'm going to open it. Doesn't look good there, but it has both the grays and the blues, plus it has the greeny beiges. So that's one option, this one. Let's call this A, option A. Let me know if you think we should do that one. That's amongst my finalists. I probably am going to sway the vote or decide myself even after we vote. I'm allowed to do that, right? Okay, there's another one. That's a flannel. Some more blacks in it. This one is another rich one. Has more golds in it and not as much gray or blue. There's plenty of that. Oh, here's another one with more reds in it. Oh, and here is an interesting one. That one really does not go. I think we need to take that right out of the running. Oh, and here's the football fabric. Again, it doesn't have, well, it has black in it, but it doesn't have those blue grays. All right, well, let's keep that in the running. So the football one, I'm going to take this one out of the running. I don't like that one. I think I know which one I want to use, but I'm interested in. So again, what we're voting on is I'm going to do this pattern, the center, use these as my charm square pack, and then everywhere there's green is the print we're going to pick. Together, they're not very pretty. So that's A. Now, could any of them go together? No. So that's A. Let's do, this is B. Actually, no, this is B because it has the blue in it. I'm going to take this away too because it doesn't have blue in it. Okay, A, B, C. Do, 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 do. Which one would you pick? Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, very good, B. Interesting. Okay. That is really cool. I think there's no contest. B. Oh, Misty, I love it. Okay. That is really fun. If anyone else has any questions, we can use that. Thank you. I value that input. I'm psyched. Okay. So what I need to do is, all I need to do is cut this into 5-inch squares. That is beautiful. You know what I'm going to do though right now is I'm going to take it down and just lay it out. Oops. Okay. The backing I pieced. Okay. That one over here. I'll do that binding on open sew. I've discovered binding on our open sews works well for me. I can hear better. Okay. Isn't that a pretty piece? Of course, the question's going to be, are we going to go light to dark like we did with the other one? Do we go back and forth? Ooh, that's looking cool so far. I hope this is sort of interesting. B with A as border. Oh, very cool. Whoops. And maybe I do something thin there like, I don't know, bright red or a navy blue or black or gray. Or a brown. Now we're changing into the brown colors. Again, this is Kona Neutral Palette Charm Square Pack. Probably from a few years ago. I'm sure they make it still though, right? Okay, and now the question is, now it's getting lighter. I'm not sure I like that. Okay, it's getting lighter. Oh, maybe there's a green that would go in there. Like a blue greeny. I don't know what it is. I'm a sucker for okra. If I said that right, ochre. Yellow gold. Okay, so now they're getting light again. So I'm interested in another vote. So the bottom ones are incredibly light. And what I'm contemplating is, do we combine the light valued grays and creams and put those all together and then go down to the darker, or do we leave it or play with it? I might be one square shy, and the rest are all white. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, what do we think? I think we need to rearrange them by value. Okay. Oh, I love seeing what you're saying. How about a gold inner border? Totally. I like that idea. Well, I think I'd mix the squares up, but it's your quilt, and don't like A with it at all. I think it clashes, but again, it's your quilt. Okay. I think I'd go with mixing up the solid squares. Border looks too green. Okay. Okay. Light to dark. Okay. Thank you. And you know what? Let's hold this thought for a minute. Whoops. Okay. How are we doing for time? Okay. I promise I won't do this very long. So, there. Maybe got all of those up there. This is where a black and white picture is going to be my friend. I'm going to take a picture. I'll lay it out, and then I'll take a picture to see, and I'll turn it black and white. I'm really not that good. I wish my sister lived closer. I really do. I know the darks and the lights, so these are really dark, right? And these feel middle. It's light. Anyway, you get the idea, right? These all have to go up here. Oh, this is going to be fun. Oops. All right. Okay. That's what I'll play with, and I will report back next week. Doesn't look like, it looks like Post-it notes right now. Okay, Misty, how about the darks in the middle and lights on the outside? Hey, I will try that, Misty, right now. Hi, Marcella. Okay, I was meaning mix them up all over the fabric so that you have some dark, some light, and some medium all over the fabric. Okay, so we have two other things to try. Now, Misty, what am I putting? Darks in the middle, okay? Oh, they're falling down. Oh. Okay. Yep, that'll be kind of neat too. Or then all over, I'm liking that. Huh. Well, I will try them all. What I think I'll do is I'll cut the background fabric into 5-inch squares and I'll sew every one of these. No, I won't. I'll play with it. Light to dark. Okay, thank you, Leah. I think this is fun, but then you're doing all of the work. But I still like this so much fun. Oh, thank you, Marquet. I'm glad to know that. I didn't know if it was fun. That's awesome. Like this. That really reads very light. Woo! Well, I will keep playing with it. Oh, I'm glad. I'm so glad you're here, Angela. And thank you all for being here. I think that's all I had to show you tonight. No sewing. Oh, and next Wednesday, I am going down to Blaine's to drop my machine off to be cleaned. So hopefully I can wait there. I have to call them Monday morning. That's probably wishful thinking, but we'll see. But either way, I have other machines I'll use. And I think that's that. So we saw some finishes. We learned about wavy borders, and we're going to play with values. And thank you for helping to pick out the background. Great to see everyone. Have a fun weekend. Do what you're good at. Do what you love. Oftentimes they're the same thing. And do something nice for someone else. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next week. Bye.